Hello, my name is Margaret Donor, and I'm doing a series of these YouTube videos. I think this is the sixth in the series to discuss some of the ideas in my books, including my newest book, Merlin's Handbook for Seekers and Starseeds, A Guide to Awakening Your Divine Potential, and also my newest workshop, which is called Understanding, Recognizing, and Protecting Yourself from Psychic Attack. And I would like to discuss this, in this one, I'd like to discuss some of the ideas that we have been talking about and working through in that latest workshop. And I'm surprised that the idea of being psychically attacked is somewhat controversial, because every religion, every tribal culture, every part of the world and every religious figure has met these energies, worked with these energies, freed themselves from these energies, talked about these energies, and it seems surprising to me that somehow it could be even controversial at all. And that why isn't it understood and accepted? I understand we're in a scientific culture, and part of the brainwashing of that is to believe that only what can you touch or see with your eyes exists. But science is going past the controversy of this. Science is, quantum physics is coming to much deeper understandings of the nature of reality. So I think we can just throw controversy out the window and talk about our experiences, whether it's seeing ghosts or whether it's being psychically attacked, understanding that there is levels of consciousness that work in unseen realms, to us unseen, out of our visual sight, that's all. But real, fourth dimension is what we generally call it. I think it's very, very important also to not feel that somehow if these psychic attacks happen to you, that it says something bad about you. Because if Mara sent armies of demons to attack Buddha, and Jesus wrestled with the devil, and then he had to free Mary Magdalene from demonic possession, and on, we can pretty much assume that it doesn't have anything to do with the nature of your spiritual self. In fact, it may be that the more light you carry, the more likely you are to come under attack by these beings. So I want you to put aside any belief or thought that, this is making you a bad person. Now, that being said, when we're talking about the lower matrix, and we're talking about the unseen realms, and we're talking about the lower astral, it's very important to speak the same language. So I'm going to just talk about the paradigm I use. The third and the fourth dimension in my paradigm, my world, make up the lower astral realm. The third dimension is the seen realm, and the fourth dimension is the unseen realm, but still connected to our earth plane. Okay? And when we rise above fourth, when we get higher, we lose duality, we lose polarity, we begin to function with a much more a perspective much closer to our what we think of as our higher self or God self. We have vision, we have insight, and we have compassion. But in the lower astral, because of all the duality, polarity, light and dark, good and evil, and so forth, we are in that realm. Now, it doesn't do any good to say, oh, I don't want to be, or I want to ignore it, or I want to pretend. It just doesn't do any good. It doesn't protect you to pretend that these energies and entities don't exist. So let's go with the Gnostics, let's go with Jesus, let's go with Buddha, let's go with Hindu, let's go with the shamans, let's go with the tribal cultures, and let's just accept that there are beings and energies and entities that we can't see, but that who can see us and interact with us. And then let's try and understand who and what they are and how they impact upon our life. And if we're working in this, because whether we like it or not, you're here. You're on the earth. You're here for a reason, and you're in this dimension for a reason. So it's absolutely essential to realize that and not to fight it, because it's transcending it. It's transforming it. It's learning from it that serves us. But it's putting our head in the sand and pretending, what you think of as la la land, or we call la la land. It's not, that's not mature, that's not adult, that's childish. And so we have to be mature adults in our spiritual path as well. So I want to just begin by helping you to understand in this video some of the most basic ways that you might feel when you're under attack. Anxiety, panic disorders, any kind of suicidal or violent thoughts and feelings. Any time that your button, like your trigger buttons, are getting very pushed and you're acting from your lower self, you know that, yes, you're unhealed place, you have an unhealed place, but when it starts to escalate beyond all reason, there's some energy or entity that is pushing you in that direction so it can feed off the etheric energy that you're releasing in that state of chaos, in that state of fear, in that state of anger. So it's very important to understand that when you are acting out of your lower self, and when you are acting out of the self that is in fear and anger, these energies enjoy that. That is what feeds them. So that is why I say you can't understand the dark from the position of light. Okay? You can't understand light from a position of dark. You have to go into light to understand light and how it works, because it has a completely different paradigm than the dark. And you have to go into the dark to understand dark. And maybe that's why you're on this earth plane. Maybe that's why you're here, is to understand it. So I asked God, why is there so much darkness in the world? And I got this answer. Until humanity, as long as humanity refuses to recognize the darkness, they will forever be enslaved by it. And I thought that, okay, that's all it needs to be said. As long as humanity refuses to recognize the darkness, they will forever be enslaved by it. So we have to understand, if we're consider ourselves to be light beings, and we meditate every day, and we find it easy to put our hands over our high heart chakra, have compassion, say, I am love and I am light, connect to something, our guides, our angels, or God. And not voices in your head, by the way. Voices in the head are not angels. Voices in the head are these entities. When you have a knowing, when you have a feeling of knowing, your higher self has been activated, and you have a deepening of your wisdom and your knowledge, that's how these light beings work. So please, so many people are receiving information from dark energy and dark entity, and they're confused. The ego is the key. When you want or need or feel yourself to be in some way or another attached to an outcome or a desire, you can be pretty sure there's a dark energy that's going to want to goad you or push on that and get you stimulated so that it can feed off of whatever it is energetically you're releasing. So it's very, very important that we do our boot camp work, our spiritual boot camp work. That's why I've said all of this work we've been doing, many of us, my awakening began in 1986 when I started having my first understanding of karma and past life visions. And it continued from there. And all that work that I've done since then, I realize is boot camp, because it's given me the ability to access enough wisdom, of my own wisdom, and my higher self and my light, that I can look at these issues, such as psychic attack, and not go into fear. And that I can be awake and aware in the face of the darkness and the dark entities and energies. So I'm going to ask you to think about, perhaps it might assist you as well, to think about all that spiritual work as boot camp. so that you can become closer to Michael. You can become one of the legions of Michael, so to speak, and you can begin to take your light into these dark areas and transform and transmute them. Because turning away from vampiric parasites doesn't stop them. They're just coming in to feed more and feed more and feed more energetically. But shining light on it is much more effective. So in terms of recognizing, look for anxiety, panic attacks, your ego being triggered, strong desire, I want. And if you're in humble service to yourself and community and God or whatever that is to you, and you can feel a connection, do it every day. Allow yourself to connect every day, and then slowly begin to understand and integrate what is going on this planet. Because if you open your eyes and you look, you are going to see that there is a lot of dark energy. And unless you've been hiding with your head in the sand, it's pretty evident these days. So recognizing is step one to protecting. Doing your spiritual boot camp work so you can begin to recognize. And understanding that it is time for you to get your power back by saying to these energies, you shall not pass. I'm a sovereign being, and I have the right to my sovereignty. I've been working with people lately who have recollections of abductions. I believe that these abductions are true, and I believe they're extremely complicated. So people are being attacked, and if we are truly what we think and say we are, which is bearers of light, then isn't it our job, and perhaps even our duty, to shine light on these issues and try to get to the bottom of it so that we can all live in greater peace and deepening our wisdom and understanding. Thank you very much. I'll continue this topic in my next videos. Thank you.